To Autumn. This is a poem which is there for discussion, and this is written by John Keats, and this is one of his odes. It is in the form of ode. Ode is a lyrical poem, and it is a form of an address. It is addressed to someone, and it is stately and serious in manner. So in this poem, the uh, season of autumn has been addressed by John Keats, and he has written several odes, and it is one of those odes, and it is his very famous ode. And why I would say it supersedes the other odes in the manner that it is very, very objective. Most of his odes are subjective, and which reflect his own experience or his own personality. But this particular ode is simply addressing a season, and it has been addressed in the most objective manner. So in a way, this ode is different from his other odes. So when we start this poem for further appreciation, I would to begin with, I would say that this poem is divided into three stanzas, and all these stanzas have a theme. So the first stanza is talking about the gifts of autumn, how there are so many fruits coming up in autumn, or how autumn is full of many flowers, or full of crops. And then he's talking of the various activities of autumn. So it is full of activities. There are gleaners, there are reapers. Then he's talking about the sounds. In the third stanza, he's talking about the sounds of autumn, how autumn has different sounds. And if you further see, you would see that his description of autumn is very different from the description of autumn by different poets or different authors, because autumn is somewhere treated as a very dry season, or it has little to offer to you, and it is associated with sadness somehow. But in this poem, we would see that there are certain lines, or in the last stanza, he does talk of some serious notes which are associated with autumn, but he takes a positive turn, and he interprets even those serious notes in a very objective and a positive manner, and he looks forward to life even after autumn or during autumn. So he says, when he begins with season of mist and mellow fruitfulness, close bosom friends of the matured sun. Now, autumn is season of mist and mellow fruitfulness. All the fruits, they have been mellowed to the core. They are ripe, and they are ripening to the core. Close bosom friends of the maturing sun. Autumn and the sun are close bosom friends, because as the sun matures, autumn also matures with its fruits, conspiring with him how to load and bless with fruits the vines that round the thatch eaves run. Now, autumn conspires with the mature sun, that how it would load every creeper, every vine with grapes and with several fruits that round the thatch eaves run. Now, this is somewhere, there is an image that it is a countryside, or there are various huts which have thatch above them, and to band with apples the mossed cottage trees. Now, there are cottages which are resided by the commoners or farmers, and these trees which are growing over there, the apple trees, they would be full of the fruit, and they would be so much full of apples that those branches would bend and fill all fruits with ripeness to the core. Now, there is a sense of ripeness which is there in every fruit, and There is mellowness, which is to the last core. So this sense would be carried throughout the stanza, and there would be more fruits to come, there would be more crops to come, there would be more flowers to bloom, to swell the gourd and plump the hazel shells. Now, the gourds which are coming during this fruit or this vegetable could be similar to a pumpkin or hazel shells with a sweet kernel, sweet seed, to set budding more and still more later flowers for the bees. Now, bees have a very nice time. They have flowers coming and coming and coming. So, there is not an end to the flowers, and there is not an end to the honey which they are getting through these flowers. So this is a very fruitful season where lots of fruits coming, lots of crops coming, lots of flowers coming, and there is it is like God is showering plenty over the land, until they think warm days will never cease. Now, bees are so satisfied with the honey that they think that these warm days, these happy days would never cease, would never come to an end. And because there are flowers, then again there are flowers, then again there is another crop which is coming up. So it does not end, and the bees are so much gluttoned or so much happy with the honey which is there everywhere, and the days are not coming to an end, so which gives them a feeling that warm days, the good days or happy days, would never come to an end. So we could see that in the first stanza it is talking about the fruits of autumn, and it is talking about the land which is being blessed by God with lot of crops or lot of flowers. Then in the next stanza, autumn has been personified in various forms. It has been called a gleaner, or it has been called a reaper. So somewhere we identify autumn with a woman who is working in the field. And the poet says, "Who hath not seen thee oft amid thy stores? Sometimes whoever seeks abroad may find thee sitting careless on a granary floor, the hair soft lifted by the winnowing wind, or on a half-reaped furrow round, sound asleep, drowsed with the fumes of poppies, while the hook spares the next swath and its twined flowers." Now, there is an image of a woman who is there, who is sitting in a granary, and there is so much of winnowing work there, that winnowing is separating the chaff from the grain. So this woman is performing this task, and she's a farmer woman, and she's there employing herself throughout the day. But there is so much of work, because there's so much of there so much of crop which has come up, that work does not end, and she's sleeping over there, she's half sleeping over there, she's tired of winnowing. Or she's then she's there are poppies, fumes of poppies, that is the smell of poppies. There are so many poppies which have come up, that she's cutting them, and the flowers are twine flowers. Like, there are so many flowers that it is every time when she's cutting them, it is the bunch of a flower, which is bunch of flowers uh, uh, which she has to cut. So everywhere there is plenty, there is a feeling of plethora is there. So she's tired of cutting that, or she's tired of winnowing in the greens, or she's tired of cutting the poppies. And sometimes, like a gleaner, thou dost keep steady thy laden hat across a brook, or by a cider press with patient look, Now there is a small machine which, which takes out the juice from the apples. Now she's giving a very patient eye to it, because there is so much juice which is coming drop by drop from that machine, that she has to sit for hours together to get that work done. So she has to maintain her patience. And then while there she's there and she's then she's quoted as a gleaner who is carrying the chef above her head, and she has to keep her head straight, she has to maintain a balance, because whatever she's carrying, the bundle which she's carrying is too heavy for her. So everywhere, what I have said earlier is, everywhere there is a feeling, or there are images which carry a feeling that there is a plenty, there is a plethora, and the fruits or the crops which have come, they have come in great quantity. So the people who are associated with those works, those people, they have to maintain a patience to get those works done. Then there is though watches the last oozings hours by hours. Last oozings or the drops of the apple juice. Where are the songs of spring? Where are they? Think not of them, thou hast thy music too. Now, as I said, the first stanza was about the fruits, crops, and flowers of autumn. Then the second stanza was about the activities of autumn, and they have been performed, most of them have been performed by a woman or ladies who are associated with farming or harvesting. And then we have sounds of autumn, because he is somewhere building a thesis which is different from a routine thesis, because people associate autumn with no crops or no fruits. Then people associate autumn with the worries of farmer, that there is hardly anything to take home. And then people think that autumn does not have any music, it is a pensive season, and it is associated with thoughts of sadness. So somewhere he's telling you autumn can be looked with a very different eye as well. And he's saying that autumn has its own sounds, and those sounds are very musical and very lyrical. And he says, where are the songs of spring? Now people associate music, love, songs, all these things which give you happiness with spring. Now he is saying, where are they? Where are the songs of spring? Now we can hear the songs of autumn. Think not of them. He's reminding the readers not to think on those conventional lines that only spring has songs. Think not of them. Do not think of them. Though has thy music too. Autumn, do not think about them. The readers, please do not think about them. Autumn has its own music. While barred clouds bloom the soft dying day, and tough the stubble plains with rosy hue. The plains which are harvested or which are cut, they have a rosy hue. Hue is color. They have a rosy color of sun in evening, and it is a very beautiful image that there are fields which are farmed by farmers, and it is time of evening, and we can see the light or the sun which is rosy colored, and it is spreading its color all over the field. So we can see that beautiful visual imagery has been created by Keats throughout the poem, when he's talking of fruits, when he's talking of overladen apple trees, when he's talking of those nuts, hazelnuts with those sweet kernels, when he's talking of vines, when he's talking of this woman who's carrying the activities of autumn. Somewhere she's sleeping, somewhere she's patiently looking at the cider press, or somewhere she's trying to balance herself with that bundle of hay. So very beautiful pictures have been created by John Keats. And now, in the last lines, it is not only the picture, but we would see that how he is creating the audio imagery, the various sounds of autumn, because he started with the reference to sound, where he's saying, where is the music of spring? It is not only, or the songs which are sung only in spring. There, autumn has its own songs. Then he says, among the river shallows borne aloft, or sinking as the light wind lives or dies. Now, there are small insects which are there near the river, and these insects are so light that they move with wind, or sinking as the light wind lives or dies. So their movement is all associated with the rise, or with the fall of the wind. And full grown lambs loud bleat from hilly bone hedge cricket sing, and now with treble soft the red breast whistles from a garden croft, and gathering swallows twitter in the skies. Now there is a bleating, lambs are bleating during the autumn time. Then there is hedge cricket, which is a bird which is singing. Then there is redbreast, is again a bird which is singing. Then swallows are again small birds who have their own twitters during the time of autumn. So all these birds, hedge cricket or redbreast or swallows, they have their own music which they give to autumn. So autumn has its own sound. So do not think of the sounds of spring. Do not think of the music of spring. Autumn has its own spring. Autumn has its own sound. So autumn is as musical, as lyrical, or as beautiful in its sounds as well as any spring could be. So this you would see that it is a very, very objective poem, and there is hardly anything which you would say, which you could call subjective or personal experience. But the treatment of the season is very personal, because this season, autumn, has not been treated like this by any of the poets. And the various fruits which autumn gives you, or the various activities which autumn perform with you, or the various sounds, or the various musics, types of music which autumn has, these lyrics or these songs of autumn, they have not been quoted by any of the poets earlier. So we could say that this is a very objective ode, and it is at the same time its treatment is very subjective, and there lies the beauty of this ode. And there lies the mastery of writing odes by John Keats. And as if you ask me, I would say this poem is again remarkable for its images, the pictorial images which it carries. And then there are images of taste, when he talks of grapes, when he talks of apples, then, or when he talks of apple juice coming and coming, the lady is sitting there at the cider press, and it is oozing again and again. So somewhere the imagery of tastes are there. And then we have images of sounds. We have so many sounds by birds, sounds by lamb, then sounds by insects, those gnats there in the atmosphere, they're creating their own sound. So then there is, it is a feast of visual delight which is there, feast of colors is there. Then, like all these birds, hedge cricket or redbreast or swallows, they have their own colors to offer you. Then those fruits have their own colors to offer you. Then the beauty of women a gleaner who is very simple, but at the same time she is associated with so much of fruitfulness of autumn, that she herself becomes a part of nature, and she is herself become someone who gives you, someone who is she is at receiving end, but she is so much satisfied, like the bees who think that warm days would never cease, that she's so much satisfied with those fruits of autumn, that she becomes a part of that satisfaction, that she becomes the part of plenty of autumn. So we can say that it is a visual delight, it is a delight into the ears through various sounds, and this is a delight to your taste as well, because there's so many fruits, so many fruits with all their juices oozing drop by drop and never ending. So somewhere the season we feel would never end, and the happy days would never cease, and this is how this ode is written by John Keats. Thank you.